Hello there, and welcome to another episode of WOK Talk. I'm gonna just kind of cheat a little bit for our fact about the WOK, but not about the walk, more the walk. And another big inspiration for me is not only just Phoenix Jones, but also Wim Hof and World's Strongest Men like Eddie Hall. They're a big inspiration for wanting to raise the bar in the real life superhero community and in life in general, because they're just great examples of people who have made their mark. But without any further delay, we are preparing to carry a pallet 50 miles, so we're doing squats with the titanium WOK. So let's get on with it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are continuing our reaction of Super Sweet Shirt Company, or Co. It says Super Sweet Shirt Co. This is from a live stream where our gentleman friend here gave a really energetic reaction to the rise and fall of Seattle's real life superhero Phoenix Jones. So let's continue on with that. We went back just a couple seconds from the last video, but we're basically where we were.
The story begins in late 2010 when local news began reporting on a mysterious figure who, nearly every night, disappeared into the hidden room of a comic book shop and emerged in a black and gold costume. And
he disappears into the hidden room of a comic book shop, and they say it so casually. I would love to know the name of this comic book shop. Why do they have a secret room where the whole bookshelf comes out like Scooby-Doo?
I did leave a comment telling him the name of the comic book shop. I believe it is called The Dreaming, and I believe that is a reference to Sandman.
It's amazing. And he gets changed in there.
At the beginning, the learning curve for what he hoped to accomplish proved steep. Patrolling areas rich with nightlife, Jones would occasionally encounter little more than an obnoxious bar patron who needed calming down. Finding crime was nearly as difficult as fighting it. It was pretty embarrassing, Jones told a reporter of Seattle Met, speaking of his early patrols. I walked around downtown and didn't see any crime. But in January of 2011, Jones began to cut his teeth on the extreme brand of heroics that he would ultimately become.
So I know I'm stopping this a lot, but there's like a level of bias reporting going on here that I immediately noticed when he says he traveled the streets of Seattle and didn't see a lot of crime. It was pretty embarrassing, actually. He's not talking about the fact that there was no crime is embarrassing. That's not what he's talking about. He's probably talking about the fact that he was patrolling the streets in a Power Rangers type outfit, looking for crime, and there was no crime. So he just looked like a wacko walking around in a costume. That's probably what he's referring to here.
Known for.
One local man came with his.
I think that's a very reasonable takeaway and good commentary on how someone can take the context of what you say and stretch it to mean something totally different.
Seconds of having his car broken into, perhaps stolen, until a superhero came to his rescue.
And you just start sticking it down inside between the window here and the rubber strip.
Dan was calling 911, but help flew in before he finished dialing.
From the right, this guy comes dashing in, just wearing this skin-tight rubber black and golden suit, and starts chasing him away.
The attention Jones got from this.
I will say, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's what happens when you wear a suit with fake abs on it. Is someone's going to assume you're just wearing a skin tight outfit? That's just an interpretation that makes sense.
Single incident solidified his niche in crime fighting. In order to separate himself from the growing community of other real life superheroes, Jones believed he would have to put himself in the precarious situations that others wouldn't dream of. As he continued, Jones began breaking up street fights, attempting to intimidate drug dealers, and in doing so, incurred many injuries.
And fair enough. Interjecting himself into situations is what Phoenix Jones does, whether or not you think that is a good thing or an irresponsible thing. That is what he does, and that is what separates him from a lot of real life superheroes, many of whom, like me, do not want to cause trouble or start fights with people. Even if there is an incident happening, it's always better to de escalate a situation rather than try to, like, start some shit, you know? Like, it's nobody's place to do that. Nobody should try to escalate situations. We should hold de escalation is just a good rule for human beings in general.
A man held him at gunpoint Saturday night.
And I have things zoomed in a little bit so you can see the screen a little bit better, but it kind of has me off to the side here. So feel free to comment on whether or not that works or if I should go back to when I was zoomed back a little bit.
Another kicked him and broke his nose. That's under my eye over here on this. I can see your eye, it's all swollen.
But the injuries didn't deter him. He appeared to romanticize the bellicose portrayals of comic book heroes, and he was on his way to becoming one, despite the attempts of Seattle police to dissuade him.
And now police.
I do love that the examples from comic books they show are I can't remember what the other guy is. He's like a violent Batman type character. They have him just covered in blood. But the version of Batman they showed was Batman in a version of Injustice where he broke the Joker's neck. And it's like, hey man, I know Phoenix Jones is a little like overzealous with his crime fighting, but he doesn't go around fucking snapping people's necks. Like, come on.
See this. So while the other in the, if you're just joining this chat right now, I see we've got another person that joined here. We're looking at the Phoenix Jones documentary. In the beginning of the documentary, they talked about how back in 2010, this is right around the time that Kick-Ass came out, which was a movie about a kid who put on a costume and then he went and fought crime and got his ass kicked. So in the beginning of the movie, they're talking about these other superheroes, and they mentioned a couple hilarious ones, like Polar Man, who would walk around and shovel people's driveways. Some other guy who would hand out copies of the Constitution. It was kind of a joke. Guys would go to Party City and put on costumes. This guy, Phoenix Jones, back in 2011, he wanted to fight crime, and he looked for it, and he took a beating. He went into areas where guys were getting drunk and or causing fights outside, domestic disturbances, whatever there is, and he really did it. He had a suit, and if you're just joining, you probably missed.
But I do want to kind of emphasize what it is. He even said what it was. He didn't say that he was going out and fighting the Yakuza or anything like that. He's going out and fighting drunk people coming out of bars. And it's like, is that heroic? I can understand wanting to be a peacekeeper, but when you're just fighting people who are already intoxicated and they're probably, if they're going to start a conflict, it's going to be over within a couple minutes and they're just going to go home afterwards anyways. Is interjecting yourself with your MMA skills really the thing that makes the night better for everybody? Or is that, like, I understand a lot of people might be inspired by his go get 'em attitude, but you know that that drunk guy has a memory of a superhero attacking him after he comes out of a bar, and that's going to stick with him. And he might not remember all the details. He just remembers, oh no, something about a guy in a skin tight gold and black outfit attacked me. Like that's going to leave a mark on anybody. But yeah, we'll just watch for a little bit longer. But we're just about out of time here. Let's go on for 3 more minutes here.
The beginning, he would get changed. They just said in the secret room of a comic book store. And they just said that casually, as if there was nothing else to follow up on there. But let's get back to this documentary here.
Saying is enough. Someone's gonna end up dead.
Don't insert yourself into those situations. If you see something, call 911.
Law enforcement
call
weren't the only
911.
ones to disapprove. Jones was largely condemned by other costume heroes who considered him delusional and worried his efforts would be harmful to their overall reputation. For
I think his efforts could be considered harmful in some ways, but I do not think he is delusional. I think that is an unfair thing to say, and just it's unfair to make assumptions about other people's mental health. That's just not right.
the first time we have someone who agrees with our overall purpose but doesn't agree with our methods, Portland, Oregon-based hero Night Owl told the Wall Street Journal.
It's not putting on a super suit and finding bad guys to fight. Real life isn't that way. Real crime fighting doesn't work that way. If you act that way, you're probably gonna make things worse.
Jones was certainly an outlier.
So we already see that the local superheroes are very uncomfortable because this guy is he's going around and he's fighting crime with his fists and breaking things up. He's getting himself into situations that are dangerous. And the other crime fighters, they don't really want to do that. They have like a code which involves them not actually getting into the shit.
In the real-life superhero community.
Yes and no. I mean, anybody who sees somebody in peril has the option to intercede. You should always have your phone ready to call 911 if you see an incident happening, I think. Sure, it's great to have a bulletproof suit and be able to go into a situation and break things up, but those situations sometimes escalate, and he doesn't always just break things up. Sometimes he sprays a bunch of people with pepper spray, and well, that doesn't make anybody look good. You know, I'll just yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'll just repeat my thing about de-escalation is key, and yeah, I think I'll wrap it up from here because we're at about our 12-minute mark, and that's kind of where I usually call her quits. But we'll have another part out right away here. Sorry that the parts are as short as they are, and I do pause quite a bit. That does cut down on how much we're actually watching, but I do want to add commentary, not just copy this guy's content off my TV onto my tablet and re-upload it. I want to add something, and I'm sorry if I'm not adding enough. Feel free to say that I'm just going through the motions. I hope I'm adding something to this wonderful. I'm doing a commentary on a commentary essentially, and so there's a reactor reacting to a reaction. That is kind of a funny conundrum there. But I'm Captain Canada, or you might know me as Joseph Arthur Roszell. I want to thank you for watching. I want to wish you all the luck in the world. I love you, and I want you to know that suicide is never the answer. Peace out for now.